The Sixth New Zealand election took place from 27th of December 1875 to the 29th of January 1876. At first it seemed like Prime Minister Daniel Pollan would run to be re-elected, but since he was the oldest man to take office and he was 62 years old, he decided not to run again. Wait a minute, Daniel Pollan? What happened to William Fox? Well, on the 10th of December 1872, Fox resigned and Stafford, now MP for Timaru, came back to serve as Prime Minister. He remained Prime Minister for 32 days and was replaced by George Waterhouse, the former Prime Minister of South Australia, becoming the 7th Prime Minister of New Zealand. He remained Prime Minister for 144 days and then was replaced by Fox again for 37 days and then by Julius Vogel, MP for Auckland East, becoming the 8th Prime Minister of New Zealand. Vogel's administration worked for issuing bonds to fund railway construction and other public works, and he was the first Jewish Prime Minister of New Zealand. The rapid and cheap acquisition of Maori land was a key part of his policy, and Vogel dramatically speeded up the Crown purchase of land. He and his supporters were certain that Maori and settlers would reconcile with the former and their land became fully integrated into the European economy. His great public works policy resulted in an increase in migrants and provision of many new railways, roads, and telegraph lines. He was also popular because he supported New Zealand independence from the British Empire, which the overwhelming majority of the people in New Zealand were now tired of being colonised by the British. He remained in office for a good 2 years, and then stood down to Daniel Pollan, who became the 9th Prime Minister of New Zealand. Pollan remained Prime Minister right up to this election, when he said that he wouldn't run, and his very popular predecessor to run again, as well as many other New Zealanders. Julius Vogel, now MP for Wanganui, and since he had little opposition to become Prime Minister, it was looking to be a landslide for Vogel. The previous Parliament had 78 representatives from 72 electorates. In October 1875, Parliament passed the Representation Act of 1875 and resolved the increase to increase the size of Parliament to 88 representatives through the following changes. Here's the list. Done reading? Okay, let's go. The first elections were held in the city of Dunedin and the city of Nelson electorates, returning a total of 5 members. The last election was held in the Wairau electorate, which is in the Marlborough region. A total of 56,471 voters were registered. And here are the results. Julius Vogel won, remaining the 8th Prime Minister of New Zealand. He received all 88 seats in Parliament, the highest number of seats to one party in New Zealand history. This would mark the last election where the winner of the election won unopposed, the last election where the election would take place between 2 years, and would be the last election where it was mandatory for eligible population to vote in New Zealand.